Hey everybody, welcome back to another podcast episode. Our format's a little different, but that's what we do. We change it up, we switch it up a little bit from time to time. That's just how we do it. This is the RDK and Dom Universe channel. We thank you guys for clicking on this video, listening, and tuning in. We appreciate you guys for the support and the views. Before we get started into any other topics that we have at hand today, Dom, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. Sadly, we couldn't get the videos to work out, but when there's a will, there's a way, man.
Yeah, that was kind of unfortunate. For those of you who don't know, we were actually in the middle of recording, and the video just stopped, and it kept lagging, and it was so bad. We were just like, okay, we gotta find something else. So we're here now, but it's okay. All right. First topic is, bro, got a question: Pixar or DreamWorks?
Man, this right here, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but that's okay. That's okay because I have all of my receipts prepared. So I have to go with DreamWorks, bro. Got to, specifically because when you go through, and I watch Pixar's and I watch DreamWorks. Pixar, they reuse and recycle the same formula. It's always, when they do like an origin story, it's always the person. So take Toy Story, for instance, right? Toy Story has basically the same origin story as The Incredibles. And it's not word for word, but it's basically the same origin story. But when I watch DreamWorks, it's not the same. Each one feels unique in a different way. Because for me, DreamWorks it's just different, bro. Like, you can't put Toy Story or The Incredibles up against Shrek, because DreamWorks is dedicated not just to entertaining kids, but to entertaining adults too. Because you're never going to go into a Pixar movie and see a talking zebra say, "Oh, sugar, honey, iced tea," and then 6.5 years later, we're like, he really just said that, but in a smart way. That's big brain thinking. Like, you're just not going to see that out of a Pixar movie.
That is true. DreamWorks it's really in the name. The DreamWorks, like, they really think beyond, and they go into like the things we dream about. It's like, you can't explain it. Like, so an average person wouldn't have come up with those, ideas, those what seems like astronomical ideas. But I agree with you. DreamWorks is definitely a better cinema entertainment for the audience. They just have better movies. I mean, this is the storyline, to me, is what gets me in DreamWorks. I personally, the action is cool. All the Pixar and DreamWorks, the action is cool. But I like DreamWorks because of the storyline. I feel like what the story, like you said, its uniqueness, right? The story that it tells is uniquely different and is creative, and that's why they keep selling. So
exactly, and you're never going to watch either of these movies, either of these two companies, and be disappointed in particular. But when you watch a Pixar movie, the bar is set so high that if it's not meeting that bar, then it's like, it wasn't a good movie. So Toy Story 3, for instance, the bar was set so high from the first two that when we watched the third one, we were like, it was good, but it wasn't great, But DreamWorks being so underrated, not too many people our age have seen Flushed Away or have seen Over the Hedge and movies like that. We've all seen Shrek or Madagascar and the Penguins, but not many of us have seen Kung Fu Panda, all of them. Not many of us have seen Flushed Away or Over the Hedge, or what's another one? They're on the rise now because they got Sing. Have a lot. Their categories both their catalogs are just so high that when you put them up to each other, it comes down to, for me, it's inclusion, because when I look at DreamWorks, I see they're to avoid having the issue that Disney had with inclusion. They basically just were like, I'm going to make all of my main characters talking animals because I don't want to deal with black, white, Asian. I don't want to talk. I don't want to deal with that the way that Disney did, because Disney, as they have some representation, it doesn't match up with the representation of white people. Because most, if not the majority, of their Disney princesses and princes are all white. There's not enough representation of other nationalities in any of their films, their cartoon films, and it's not because they don't want to, it's because they don't want to offend anyone now, because they didn't get the ball rolling when we first asked them for representation. So now that they want to, it's a little late to do that now, because the last one they did, Moana, like it did great, but they can't do that with an African American princess, because they're more than likely gonna have to form that in Africa, and they don't want to seem like they're judging anyone from Africa for saying like, oh, she's a princess in Africa, because in today's society we're sensitive, so we're gonna be like, oh, so she's black and she has to be in Africa. She couldn't have been in Zimbabwe or Jamaica or anything like that. Like, regardless of where they put her as a black female, our generation is going to twist it in some way. They're gonna find a way to twist it.
Absolutely. Not really a question. Well, it is a question, right? Sitcoms, black sitcoms specifically, right? First, tell me your favorite, and then give me your top 4 of all time.
My favorite. I'm going to have to say Martin.
Excellent choice.
I'm going to get as a Martin, man. And for top 4, I'm going to have Martin. And, of course, I'm going to have Fresh Prince.
There you go.
I'm going to go to the Bernie Mac show.
Nice. Yep.
God rest his soul. Rest in peace to the legend.
Rest in peace, Mac, man.
I'm going to go Family Matters, man.
Was that 4?
Yes, 4.
Ooh. Yeah, those are good options, bro. Like, there's nothing that, no choice that you would have said would have been like a disagreement, because they're all great shows. Just phenomenal, honestly. If I had to pick mine, I would definitely say Martin is number 1. I mean, the improv was absolutely just insane on that show. Like, their improv skills is what made it a legendary show. So Martin, I'm gonna say Fresh Prince. I'm actually also gonna say Bernie Mac. I'm gonna say something that I'm gonna say the Steve Harvey Show, bro. The Steve Harvey Show for me was really, it was a big part of my childhood. It really was. Like, it was there. And then I'm gonna have to put Good Times up there. But I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna put, for number 5, I'm gonna put Good Times / The Jeffersons.
Okay.
They were just really good shows, bro. Like, the Bernie Mac show was like, I like when they highlighted, like, even remember Jordan? Even though Jordan was like a nerd, they like highlighted that he's a nerd, but he's also black, so he's very creative. So he's gonna have creative skills. Like, they compared him to like the black genius, like a Lewis Latimer, who was like a scientist back when Edison was figuring out the light bulb. Latimer was actually behind the scenes working it as well. But of course, he's not going to get that credit. But that's what they portrayed Jordan as on the show. Brianna, she was like the younger one, the wild one. She was the cute one. And then Vanessa, the oldest one, she was like, I don't want to be here, this family, right? And Wanda was a beautiful woman. Let's just say it like this. She was beautiful. Like, the Mac man hit the jackpot, right? But it was just I like that show. It was natural, organic comedy. Like, it wasn't cheap laughs, right? It wasn't just quick laughs. It was actually funny. And then Martin, like I said earlier, and the Fresh Prince, they were good because they highlighted the importance of, and I forgot one, bro. I forgot one, but My Wife and Kids as well. But just talking about all those shows, what they did was they highlighted the importance of black ownership. They didn't say it directly, but they highlighted that. Like specifically, My Wife and Kids, Michael Kyle, Damon Wayans, the guy who plays Michael Kyle, he owns a trucking company, right? On the Jeffersons, George Jefferson owns his cleaners, right? Different people, own things, right? And Martin, it was just, even though they didn't own anything, they were always like in between jobs, but they were always hustling, right? There's a reason why they had Hustle Man on the show. Like, there was a reason for that. So,
yeah, I mean, what these TV shows did was they showed us a different side of Hollywood for their time. Mm-hmm. So, like, for their time, they were all not only great TV shows, but they showed us that black excellence can be achieved on the highest level of Hollywood, because at that time, like, these TV shows they were basically dominated by the white community. Hollywood basically dominated at that time period. And for us growing up, it was like, I see this person who looks like me in a situation to play somebody that I want to be, but at the same time, not only are they portraying somebody that I want to be, they're also in a position that I know would be nice to be in. So, like, the fact that we could be able to be like, being an actor is nice. I'd love to be able to get paid to act. But they're portraying something that's motivating me. And a lot of times these TV shows came on early in the morning when we're getting ready to go to school then that time, because that motivated us at that point to be like, I want to get to that point where Uncle Phil is. I want to be a lawyer like him. So all I have to do is go to school and get good grades. Little did we know that took college and motivation, and sometimes motivation just ain't there. But, like, all it would take right there is to be like, once you get motivated, once you do everything you need to do there, it's like those TV shows were our escape.
Well, it was like our DreamWorks, right? It was like our dream world, our, La La Land, our, escape, like you just said. It really was a place of, serenity.
Yeah.
Is execution better than having a strategy? Explain, sir.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
So having a plan is great. Mm-hmm. But what happens is you could strategize something to an oblivion, right? So, for example, I'll use the Super Bowl as an example. The Chiefs had a strategy. It didn't work. Their strategy coming initially into the game, and their strategy coming out of halftime. Neither one of them worked. But the Buccaneers had execution. You see, because no one wants to know your strategy. You can strategize all day and still not get anywhere. Like, we can sit down and map out, like, I'm going to, say, for instance, I want to do music. I'm going to record 6 songs today, and I'm going to release a song every other week or every other day. You can do that, and you can set that up. That can be your game plan. That's your whole strategy. But until you put your strategy in motion, it's just words. It's just thoughts. It's a goal. And until you execute your goal, your words are just that. They're just words. So when it comes down to execution versus strategy, I can strategize all day. Like, we strategized on, we're going to film today, but it didn't work out. So we had a plan B. So our strategy didn't work out, but our execution remains the same. The episode today is still going to come out,
Yep.
So that execution has to be there. The strategy doesn't necessarily have to be there. You can easily be like, I don't know what you can do what I do when I'm writing a paper. I can do a rough draft, but that rough draft is essentially me saying, I don't know what I'm gonna write about, but I'm just gonna go head first into the paper. Go like you can learn how to swim by going to lessons, or you can do what I did. I was an idiot when I lived in Virginia, went to YMCA with my dad. I didn't know how deep that pool was. I just slid down the slide because it looked fun. I started to drown until I learned how to swim. Like you can either learn how to live with wolves, or you can be fed to the wolves. So
Yep.
either you're going to get thrown to them, or you're going to read a book about them. And even if you read a book about them, you can't tell exactly what that wolf is thinking. So until you go out and have an actual sit down with that, and not a sit down, but go out and do, your strategy means nothing.
I agree with you. I mean, this is pretty obvious. Like execution, people, is way better than strategy. Listen, like my buddy Dom just said, no one cares, right? And I know that sounds so harsh, but it's the truth. Nobody cares what happens until you win. So go win. Go execute. Go finish the job. Results matter. No one cares how long, like you just said, no one cares if you worked 12 hours on one song, right? Or 12 hours on 10 songs, right? How many did you produce? How many did you release? How many, what is it's the saying, what have you done for me lately, right? No one cares what you did 3 years ago. You got this award. Okay, that's great. You got 3. That's why rappers and artists and singers, they every time they get an award, they're very humble about it for the most part, except Kanye. But
We
for the
don't
most
talk
part,
about Kanye.
for the most part, yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, they're very humble about it, and they're just, you know what they usually say? Well, I'm very appreciative of this moment. Well, we got to get back to work, right? It's become a life cycle for them because they understand that it took a lot of hard work, and they're very fortunate to get that award and to be recognized for that hard work. No one's gonna pat you on your back for strategizing all day, right? They're only gonna pat you on the back once you execute, once you win, right? So it's important that we understand that execution is really key. Like results matter. No matter how you want to twist it, no matter how many hours, no matter who cares, right? You got to put in that work, whatever your work is. If it's art, put your work in art. If it's producing music, put your work in producing music. If it's singing, dancing, running, jumping, if it's folding clothes, whatever your gift is, whatever your craft is, do that and do it well. Work on your craft, work on it 100 times a day, and before you go to bed, pray about it. You're going to have to form a relationship with God. I know this is not a religious podcast, but this is something that helps and it works. It's very relevant today. So let's just try to do that. But yeah, I definitely agree with you. Bottom line, execution is the key to success.
Yeah, you won't succeed strategizing. So the way that my aunt explained it was, you got your education.
Yep.
And then what?
Ooh.
Because that's what she asked me was, so when I graduate, she said, so I'm going to ask you this. When you graduate, you have your education. Now what? Because and then she basically told me, she was like, you want to do business. What are you doing to start up your business now? And then when I went back to class the next day, I brought that up to my teacher, my business teacher. She was like, you're right, because a lot of you in here right now are wasting your time, because a lot of us right now are in college. College is strategizing compared to those who are out there making their moves. So I do make music, but what I realized is that I have my freshman year, I know a girl who she was skipping class. She was never in there. I'd see her around campus, and I'd be like, you going to come to class, or are they? I'm not going to expose myself on what I was doing for her, but I was helping her out. I was like, you can come to class because I can't just keep helping you. She was like, man, I'm about to go back home, so you don't even got to do that no more because I'm about to drop out anyway. And I was like, drop out? Bro, you hurting yourself. And then I turn
Yeah.
around now, like, she's not a celebrity, but she's forming these connections to get with celebrities. Not too long ago, she was at Lil Boosie's house for a party. She's not even a C-tier celebrity. I mean, but still, like, she's working her way into different podcasts and onto radio shows. So she didn't game plan or strategize anything. She just went into it and she's executing. So no one's going to ask you, hey, what was your strategy to get here? They're going to ask you for your story. And that's the difference, is no one's going to ask you what happened before you started working. They're going to ask you, well, tell me how you got here. And that's not your strategy. That's your action.
Yeah.
So no one's going to, and I hate to say nobody cares, but nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. No, go ahead and say it. Say what you really feel.
I don't care that you wrote down on a piece of paper one day.
That's great. That's great, but
yeah,
there's more, right?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna ask you like, what did you do? What did you write down that made you say, I'm gonna do this? Like, I'm not going to ask you that. I'm just not gonna ask you that. I'm gonna ask you, what did it take for you to get here? No one's gonna ask you, okay, how'd you get here? Not that. No one's gonna ask you, did you game plan to get here? We're not gonna ask you that. We're just gonna ask you, how'd you get here? Like, that's the only thing we want to know. How'd you get here?
Because people want to know. People want other people's success, right? And that's where we get in trouble. And there's nothing wrong with admiring someone. Like, personally, I admire Drake's success. Like, I hope to strive for a success, not his success, but strive to live a lifestyle like that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to be careful. It's just like, we have to, because I'm talking to myself, we have to be careful with, striving for it for the wrong reasons and all that. But yeah, you're right. No one wants to see the pages that you wrote down, right? I mean, that's great. You're writing down your visions and your dreams and your goals and your ambitions. That's great. Write it down, make it known. But at the end of the day, no one cares. No one cares. I'll just use Drake since I just used him. No one cares what Drake's vision board looks like. Like, no one's really interested in that. You know what they care about? How did he come from Toronto, right, and then make it to mainstream America? How did YouTubers become now celebrities, right, on the internet? How do these, TikTok people come? How, right? People want to know that. People don't care what did. And I know we don't like to say it like that, but it's the truth.
Exactly. And that's just all there is to it, is we're not going to ask you what you wrote down on a piece of paper, or what did you tell your best friend you were going to do. We're not going to ask you that. We're going to ask you, how did you get here? That's the only question is like, the question is basically the same thing my mom told me. Well, you got your education. What now? You wrote down your goals.
Yeah. The internet today is, first of all, it's undefeated. The internet stays undefeated, right? We all know that. But we also have to realize that the internet can also be a very dangerous place, right? It can be, if it gets in the hands of the wrong people, it can be very detrimental to someone, right? So where do you stand on the internet being a double-edged sword, if you will?
I stand just with it. The internet is a double-edged sword, because here's how this works: is you can come up and be like, all right, this is what I want to do. You can say, the internet is a terrible place for anyone to go to, right? So what my friend Darion that I work with said about Twitter, he said, Twitter is Facebook with black forces, which is true, because Twitter is basically everything Facebook's not going to do. But at the same time, as it is that, it's only what you make it out to be. So if you don't have it in your mind that I'm not going to take anything away from this. So let me take cyberbullying, for example. Cyberbullying, I was always told sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me, which is false, because words can hurt. And that's where the internet comes in.
The biggest
that is
lie
indeed a lie. So what they'll do is they'll say things that can hurt you, but at the same time you have to realize that, okay, I'm on the internet. This is where people, they do a couple things, and be mean for absolutely no reason is one of them. So you have to learn that you have to separate fiction from reality. You have to separate the fantasy from reality. Yep. So that's basically what it is. So you get on Instagram and you see this model she has this big house. Well, you can look at that house and say, man, I'll never get there. Or you can look at it and say, I'm going to reach where she is right now, but it's going to take some time to get there, but I'm definitely going to reach where she is.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's where that double-edged sword comes in, because unless you're strong mentally, you're not going to be able to resist the temptation to just compare yourself to everyone else that you see online.
Yep. I agree. Your analogy with the model's house, like, it's okay to, like, you see that and be like, oh, I'll never get there. But stop. Here's what kills me, bro. Like, I'll go jump back to cyberbullying, so remind me. But stop saying, and I'm saying we need to stop saying what we'll never do. Stop saying that you'll never get the house. Stop saying that you'll never buy these things or live that lifestyle. Stop saying that. How about, instead of, stop being so negative, be positive, right? How about, instead of saying, I will never get that, how about say, how do I get that? I wonder what that feels like, right? Say that to yourself. If you say that, you are what you think, right? That's a true statement. A man is as he thinketh, right? So if you can think your way into becoming this version or your version of success, you can think your way into that. But you have to think it first. See, if you say you'll never get that, you're right. You never will. There was a quote, I forgot who said it, but the quote goes, the one who says he can and the one who says he can't are both right. We're human. We humans, we make the mistake of, a lot of times we jump to, I can't, right? I can't do this. We can't do that. You can't do this. I can't do that. I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not fast enough. I'm not elite enough. I'm not this or that, right? And we shrink ourselves, right? We're not working on our craft instead of just striving and taking that risk of, why do we take the risk of failure but not the risk towards success? I don't understand that, and I do it too. So I say we do that, and I know I'm going on a tangent, but I feel as though it's important for all of us to understand that in order to get what you want, and in order to really truly manifest the life of your dreams, it starts in your mind. You know, there was a quote by Plato, and I promise I'll jump to cybersecurity or cyberbullying, not cybersecurity, cyberbullying. There's a quote by Plato. It says, "Reality is often created by the mind. So think it, and you will be able to create your reality." So just think it. Practice self improvement thinking, if you will. So just do that. And so jumping back to the cyberbullying, yeah, man, the internet is hurtful, man. It can be a very hurtful place. But like you said earlier, it's only how we use it. Everything that has been made for us isn't always bad. It's just it falls in the falls in the hands of bad people, right? So yeah.
That's all there is to it, man. Is that
Man.
until we, as people, look at it differently, to say, as much as I want this, I'll work to get it, instead of saying I'm never going to. Because like you said, the person who says I can and the person who says I can't are both right. Because success is measured differently. And this is where our parents are to blame for this. Because I know with my parents in my house, this is our success. It's a what is this? It's like a 4 to 5 bedroom apartment with 2 stories in a very good neighborhood with 4 cars, where everybody in the house has their own car. You got 2 freezers full of food. You've got the fridge with the freezer on the bottom, and both of which are full of food. Nobody's hungry. You've got all of your needs and a good bit of your wants, and that is success. When to some people, I know for me, I'm not very materialistic. You know, like, I just need the things that I don't need all of my wants, but I just need some of them. I don't even need some of them. No, let me rephrase that. I need some of them. But like, all I need is my needs and something to keep me busy.
Yeah.
You know? So like, I have the car, but I have a car, but I don't go anywhere. I'll spend my days in the house playing the game, basically. Like, that's all I need. Like, if I were to move out now, right, and go and get me an apartment, my apartment would be bare bones. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have my stuff for this podcast, my podcast. I'd have the stuff for the gaming YouTube channel that is on the way. And I'd have that stuff, and I'd have my bed, I'd have my food and everything like that, and that's it. You know, and then my grandma would come over and she'd be like, "Well, where are your pictures at?" But there are none. You know? And like, that's where, like, I don't need them. But that's where it's like, okay, success is, it's not just your tangible items, it's how comfortable you are.
Man, that's real. That's real.
And it's not, and now I'm not saying comfortable as in you're not striving for anything else. Comfortable as in you don't have to have anything else.
Exactly.
So comfortable as in you live in your 2-bedroom or your 1-bedroom apartment and you're happy there. That's what I mean when I say comfortable. I don't mean comfortable as in you go home, you got your food, and that's all you got. You got your food. You got your food and somewhere to lay your head, but you don't have anything to do afterwards. Like, but you're comfortable there, but you're not living happily. So comfortable as in living happy, not comfortable as in this will suffice. We don't want to become complacent. We want to be content.
Never. Absolutely. Yeah, we should never be comfortable. And no, like you just said, like you hit the nail on the head. You should never be comfortable, but you should be appreciative of the place that you're in, right? Because you're not where you were. You know, be happy of where you're in. But yeah, I agree. You should never be comfortable. Always strive. You know, why not strive for the finer things in life, right? You know, why not?
Yeah. And that's exactly what that is until you go in and say, I'm not comfortable here, you'll never know what you're not comfortable with. Until you look at your life and you say, this is what I'm not happy with. You're never going to know. You're always going to live with this void of, I feel something needs to change, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why for me, I don't necessarily write anything down, but I'll go through it. Like, I'll make a list, a mental list of everything that I have going in my life. And I'll be like, which one of these is not helping me? And then I'll find what's not helping me.
Yeah.
And then I'll just remove that thing from my life. So whether it be a list of friends or some other things that just are not helping, then they're just not helping. And I can get rid of them.
Yep. You got to, bro. You got to. All right, bro. I think Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, don't give CPR to dead situations.
Man, that hit different. The word CPR will never be the same to me.
Oh, fact. Don't give CPR to dead situations. That's a good one right there. Put that on a t-shirt.
All right, everyone. That is going to conclude this video. We thank you guys and appreciate you for listening and tuning in to our new format today. Much love. We thank you for the support and the views. Please like and comment down below. Put some pressure on that notifications bell. And of course, as always, subscribe to the RDK and Dom Universe channel for future videos.